When most people think of World War II, they picture soldiers on the front lines, tanks rolling across Europe, and cities flattened by bombs. But the war's true human toll wasn't only measured in bullets and artillery. It was measured in frostbite, pneumonia, and the quiet deaths caused by relentless cold. Across Europe and beyond, millions of civilians faced winters where coal was rationed, electricity flickered and disappeared, and fuel oil vanished completely. Homes were unheated, streets froze over, and yet, somehow, people survived. What's remarkable is that they did not simply endure. They learned, adapted and mastered the art of staying warm with almost nothing. This is a story of ingenuity, physics and survival knowledge handed down through generations, refined under the most unforgiving conditions. If you are a history enthusiast who values real practical lessons from the past, this is one of the most powerful examples you will ever encounter. Before we dive into the mechanics of how wartime civilians survived the cold, take a second to support the channel. Like this video, share it with someone who cares about history, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to The Hard Past. We uncover lessons that go beyond dates and battles. Lessons that can still teach us how to survive, adapt, and understand the past more deeply. One of the first things civilians realized during wartime shortages was that the stove itself mattered far more than the fuel inside it. Fires were precious, and, well, the way a log was positioned determined how long it would last. Placing a dense hardwood log lengthwise instead of crosswise reduced the exposed surface area, slowing combustion. Many households went further, narrowing the stove's burn chamber with firebrick or stone inserts, effectively forcing the fire to smoulder instead of flare. These were not guesses. They were deliberate manipulations of combustion physics. The principle is timeless. Controlling how heat is generated can dramatically extend warmth without increasing fuel consumption. Even today, understanding your stove's shape and airflow can make a single log last all night. Wartime civilians quickly learned that not all wood was created equal. Hardwoods like oak, beech, ash and hornbeam were prized because of their density and low sap content. One hardwood log produced steady heat for hours, while softwoods burned fast, leaving homes cold before dawn. Families even took the time to season their wood indoors, stacking it near stoves to drive out moisture. Modern survivalists apply the same principle. Well-seasoned hardwood with less than 20% moisture burns longer, hotter, and far more reliably than green or soft wood. The lesson is simple, but often overlooked. Fuel quality can outweigh fuel quantity. Another technique widely used was the top-down fire. Instead of igniting tinder beneath the log, civilians stacked the fire in reverse, with the largest logs on the bottom, smaller splits in the middle, and kindling on top. Lighting the fire from above allowed flames to gradually descend, slowly igniting the main fuel. The result was a controlled, long-lasting burn instead of a rapid blaze that wasted precious warmth. The method is still one of the most effective ways to conserve fuel and maintain steady overnight heat. Many households learned through hard experience that more air does not equal more heat. Once a fire was established, vents were partially blocked with improvised dampers to starve the flames of oxygen without extinguishing them. This slow burn released heat steadily through the night. Today, modern stoves work on the same principle. Understanding minimum air settings and controlling oxygen flow is key to efficiency. Excess airflow only accelerates fuel loss, leaving a home colder in the long run. Wartime civilians also used thermal mass to extend warmth. Surrounding stoves with brick, stone or clay absorbed heat during peak combustion and released it slowly as the fire died down. In some Eastern European homes, entire walls acted as heat reservoirs. Even today, strategically placing heat-retaining materials around stoves can turn short-lived flames into hours of consistent warmth. Thermal mass is physics applied to survival, an elegant, passive method of prolonging heat. Ash was another carefully managed tool. Unlike modern habits of cleaning stoves daily, families maintained thick ash beds intentionally. The ash insulated the base of the log, reflected heat upward, and slowed oxygen flow, stabilizing combustion. Combined with disciplined habits, never stirring the fire after midnight and leaving vents closed, this created a self-sustaining heat system. Survival in this case was as much about restraint as it was about technique. Not every room needed heating. Families often concentrated warmth in one or two rooms, sealing off the rest with cloth, rugs or furniture. Reflective surfaces, metal sheets, mirrors or even polished cookware were positioned behind stoves to redirect radiant heat back into living spaces. Centralizing heat and using reflection multiplied the effectiveness of each log, an approach still relevant in modern survival situations. Finally, size and placement mattered more than sheer quantity. Several small logs allowed airflow gaps that accelerated combustion, while one large log burned slower and longer. Whenever possible, stoves were moved to central rooms, away from cold exterior walls, or walls were insulated with bookshelves or heavy furniture. These adjustments, combined with all the other techniques, allowed families to survive winters that would have overwhelmed anyone relying solely on raw fuel. The heating methods of World War II civilians were not folklore. They were survival systems, refined through necessity, observation, and applied physics. Each decision, from log selection to stove modification, airflow control to reflective placement, was based on hard-earned experience. Today, these lessons are more than historical curiosity. They are practical knowledge for anyone interested in survival, energy efficiency, or just understanding how people endured the hardest past imaginable. If you value historically grounded lessons like these, subscribe to The Hard Past, share this video with fellow history enthusiasts, and leave your thoughts in the comments. History lives when it is remembered and applied. These strategies show us that even in the bleakest conditions, knowledge, discipline, and clever adaptation can create warmth, comfort, and survival.